evening, everyone, and welcome to our AIS Facebook platform where we are again going to share one subject. Today, I'm going to talk about Ayurvedic counseling, how it works, why one need that, and how it different from our Western medicine's approach. I'm sure all of us at some stage in our life might have this experience of going to a counselor to talk about some of our issues. So that part, most of you will be very much aware that what you expect and what you get from those sessions and why the need come for counseling advice and how we end up into that sort of situation. Those are all component what we talk in detail in our Ayurvedic diploma level course when we teach, and then at advanced diploma level course. These are very comprehensive level where this issue is being talked about. Because in today's world, while we are dealing with various physical ailment and becoming more and more aware about those ailments and trying to make some more effort how we can prevent those ailments. But then there is another big component which in Ayurveda we talk about our emotional and mental ailments or imbalances or the problems which are becoming more and more dominant. And when we are not able to deal with them or we are not able to handle them, they themselves can become biggest ailment in our life, or they become the core cause of many other ailments which will be manifesting in one's body at a physical level. So in those situations, one will think that so much happening in my life and I feel confused, I feel cloudy, groggy, brain fog kind of situations. One can start talking all the time, and then they need someone whom they can speak. Another aspect what Ayurveda talk about, that in old days, in whatever culture we talk about, whenever someone was having such problem, whether it is relationship problem, whether it is dealing with the kids problem, guiding them, or then more suppressed emotions issues like feeling rejected, loneliness issues, lack of appreciation, lack of confidence, not being acknowledged, then lot of fear, anxieties, uncertainties in life. These are all various aspects which we can say as a suppressed emotion from the childhood traumas or abusive childhood, abusive relationship of the parents. All that has a bigger impact on an individual. And as I said, in all cultures, in old days, there were family members around everyone. And time to time, whenever an individual might be going through such problem, elders were able to guide them, either it's elder brother, sister, or father or mother. But nowadays, as we have gone more and more advanced in our lives, and then the families has become nuclear, and then so much changes has come in our society that people are start bottling up inside and not able to talk to anyone about their problems, whether it is their own brother and sister, own very close family member, or never even talk to their mom and dad, or even they might have problems with their mom and dad. A lot of clients you see, those who might have any issues with their parents even. So it becomes very difficult that whom I speak, and when you are not speaking and you are not in a position to handle what is going in our life, that start impacting your body. First of all, your brain will start getting affected. Then your ability to think clearly will start getting affected. And then these issues will start becoming big monster, and which we relate under our mental health also. And then one will think that I might need some advice from someone whom I can go confine to my issues and get some understanding. This is what our counseling part goes in as far as the Western aspect we talk about. But in Ayurveda, when we talk about Ayurvedic counseling, counseling means to console. Console means to give the comfort to that person who is coming to us to share and discuss their problems. But now, just listening to their problem and feeling that yes, your problem is really very deep and I sympathize with you and I feel that better sense will prevail and you can handle this problem in a better way, or you deal with this in this way or that way. That approach is not what Ayurveda talk about. In Ayurveda, counseling approach is totally different, where a Ayurvedic practitioner who have learned this traditional Ayurvedic counseling approach through their courses, through their education, they will guide you, not only guide you, but will walk with you. Not only walk with you, but give you those tools, how to use them to get out of that darkness, then supporting the person who is crumbling due to all these issues at every stage of their life till the day they get more and more stable. So counseling approach in Ayurveda has a very specific step-by-step approach, rather than just telling them, okay, this is what you can read and then try to work out in your own way. So when we talk about these steps, what are those steps and why they are required? Because first of all, Ayurvedic practitioner will assess your state of mind. When we say state of mind, because as I said before, whatever the problems are happening in someone's life, either they are the current problem or they are some past problem which are building with that individual as suppressed emotions, they can actually act as a trigger to the current situations, because our cell has our cellular memory. And that cellular memory is what carrying what is experienced by that individual in their life. And whenever certain related instance comes in that individual's life, now those things can trigger and make that individual more and more vulnerable to get affected by those problems. So in that situation, it is very important to assess someone's state of mind, because we all know very practically, common sense sort of thing, if someone is in darkness, someone is facing that dark space around him or her, how they can start thinking clearly, no matter how good counselor someone might, whatever the advice they might have given. Because in our mainstream counseling approach, we never look at those factors that what are creating that dark space in that individual's mind. And that is where the first point of difference Ayurvedic counseling offer you. We try to assess the state of the mind, and there are three levels of the state of the mind. One is the dark situation, one is the current situation, which we can say in more light state, and then we have a bright state. So when we are, due to various factors, has gone into a light stage and then the dark stage, that is where our problems start building. Now, how these states of mind change in each individual, that comes on a simple level. Whatever you feed your mind, and feed goes through the two levels. One is the feed goes from here, which is your thoughts pattern, and one is what goes through your mouth in the form of the diet. And that is what in Ayurveda we talk about. There are three kind of diets you can always, and the foods you can classify them into a dark state food, then a bit more lighter and active food, then there are more bright and calmer food. So when someone is feeding those kind of foods of bright and calmer, they have the ability to always think clearly, deal with the situation in a calmer mind, clear mind, focused mind, and then there are less chances that whatever is happening in their life might be getting a bit in trouble. They will, from the very beginning, able to handle the situations in a better way, always able to look into the situation in a more positive way rather than in a negative way. Because if you look at one example, that if we have a half glass full with the water, many of us will say it is half empty, and many of us will say half full. Both answers are right, but the outcomes are different, because the empty part is giving me that feeling that I have to make so much effort to fill it, and the one who is seeing that it is already half full, I just need to make a little effort and it will be full. So it's in your approach toward the situation. And when that part is coming up, we are in a better situation to handle anything, no matter how serious, how deeper the problem is. But then, if my situation is gone into a dark state, which is due to the dark food and activities I'm always doing, then that person, even a small trigger can become a big issue for that person, and hence we start suffering from such problems, what we call as our mental, emotional, suppressed issues, suppressed emotions, and we need some guidance. But then simple answer is, if I am already in the dark situation, dark place, no matter whatever someone is advising, how I will able to use those tools, whatever the tools that person has given me, even though at a first stage no tools are provided, just ask that, okay, you just make this change or do this. And that is where the person is still moving in the circle. They get benefit because what they have done when they have in a session within a normal counseling approach, that they feel much more less pressure on their chest, because they have vomited everything, they have talked about everything to the other person without having this issue that how that person will judge, because that person is in a professional and that is what their job is, to disassociate themselves and then advise from their perspective, their understanding, their experience, but without looking into that situation, that whether that other person is in a position to handle them or implement them. That's where the point of difference. Ayurvedic counseling will help you. So first of all, Ayurvedic counselor will help you to look at your state of mind, give you a plan that how you can get your mind from the dark and that light and active situation to the bright and calmer situation, which will require some time, and then start handling with the problems, what the problem is coming up, whether it is our current problems of the relationship or guidance required for the children or even for ourselves, or dealing with some of those suppressed emotions which are going through with me, as I shared before. And then the person will be able to use those tools. Now, what are the tools? Again, depending upon the problems a client goes on, because that is another skill Ayurvedic counselor will have, that able to identify how deeply this client is suffering from such problem. Because when I say deeper problem, how we assess deeper and non-deeper situation, that is where our various non-physical aspect comes up into. Because in our body, apart from the physical system, physical brain, as we always talk about, the one major non-physical component is our mind. And then mind has another component, what we call as our chit, buddhi. Chit is your conscious, buddhi is your intellect, then your ahankara, which is the ego component. So all those will be in a position when they are unable to handle the whole mechanism, whole physiology of the psychology. And when that becomes pathology, that is where all the emotional issues comes up. So first of all, our Ayurvedic practitioner will help you to get that cleaning process done. Right? This is what we call as, in Ayurvedic counseling, that the stages of cleansing, which we will work with them. And then we need to look at, okay, if those stages are affected, is there any other level has gone affected? What are the other levels? Then there are 5 koshas. Koshas means field around the body. And those 5 koshas also can get affected due to wrongdoings by that individual, and that's why their thought patterns start getting affected. And if those 5 koshas cannot be identified, then whatever the advice has been given to the client, it will be superficial. You might see some benefit coming, but then the problem can come up again and become more stronger. Hence, that also is another level which need to be looked at and how it has affected. Then comes the most important component is our 7 chakras in our body. I'm sure many who relate with the yoga, they must have heard these 7 chakras component, but then the biggest sad part is that in our present world, people have start using this so strong and so deeper and so important component in such a way that without knowing that how these 7 chakras work and how these 7 chakras can get affected in any individual, they just try to use their, I don't want to get into that their knowledge or what are the reason, what are the compulsions for them to use such techniques or things which they feel can help that person, because these 7 chakras are our stability of every individual's life. These 7 chakras guide our various specific organ in the body. This is all the energetic component. Yes, someone might be from the medical perspective will think that, okay, what are the energetics? Again, we need to remember one thing, that this is what nowadays we call as quantum physics, that our bodies are made of 5 elements, Panch Mahabhut. And then this cosmos, this universe is also made of 5 elements. And those 5 elements have their specific characteristics. And in that aspect of creation, our body is also a creation. Because if you will see this physical body can be still there with you one moment and you are saying it's a live body, I love it, I love him or love her, but the next moment you might be turning that body as a dead body and not want to touch that body. So what is the difference between 1 minute before and 1 minute after? What has gone out of that? Is any medical science talk about that? But then Ayurveda talk about that from the centuries. That what goes out of your body is what we call as your soul or Atma or spirit in nowadays language. Or you can say your energy. That has gone and you are dead. When it is in, you love it. So where that goes, from where it comes and how it is connected, that is where Ayurveda talk about. And in Ayurvedic psychology, those are the components which has to be handled. And hence that focus on 7 chakras part, as I mentioned. So each chakra will be associated with a different organ. And due to various reasons, which again as a Ayurvedic practitioner, they will be well equipped to identify that what are the reasons that this person's now chakras has gone affected. Problem can be on a very superficial level and can be dealt with those tools which Ayurvedic counselor practitioner will offer you. But sometimes the problem has gone much deeper. And hence the practitioner who have learned these Ayurvedic chakra balancing treatment protocols, they will be in a position to help that person. So they need to be assessed. Now we call them as chakra blocked, because there is an energetic flow which comes from the root chakra to the crown chakra, and then that chakra energetics are flowing through the 3 nadis, we call them, Ida, Pingala and Sushmana. So I'm not going to go into too detail of this public talk, where my role is not to make you into an Ayurvedic counselor, but the idea is to share with you that how Ayurvedic counselor, Ayurvedic practitioner, Ayurvedic counseling approach can help to all of us if we are suffering from our these kind of issues which I shared with you at a mental level, emotional level. But Ayurvedic counseling also is very crucial and integral part of our normal practice. Reason is whole Ayurveda revolve around creating an awareness to that individual that whatever the problem they are suffering, whether it is simple hay fever or deeper autoimmune disorder or the cancers or other issues, why that problems are coming up and how one can handle them. And to handle them, there are certain plan need to be implemented. But then that plan can never be implemented if we not able to create awareness to that individual. And that awareness again relate on a mental level, and how to clean the mind, how that mind is working with the body, because the harmony between mind and body is very crucial to make the individual to take some step. And those step means to empower yourself, that how you can play a role in your own well-being by following the advice, the program given by that Ayurvedic practitioner. No Ayurvedic practitioner who is trained as in a traditional Ayurvedic learning will ever give you this medicine, or never will come and have a panchkarma with me or have a shirodhara with me, because they know that these tools will never work until the person has corrected the core cause. And to correct the core cause of any individual's ailment, until the individual is involved, until the individual is taking part in that process, it can never happen. Hence the problems keep coming back and back. So that is also the part of counseling. Our first focus is to make that individual aware and make him or her to take initiative to play an active role in their well-being. So Ayurvedic counseling is not just for the psychological problems or mental problem or emotional problem. Ayurvedic counseling is an integral part of Ayurvedic practitioners' approach, so that both can work together and the practitioner can give you that tools and strength. But yes, for when someone is going through a lot of mental and emotional problem, that is where they require that deeper level of help and guidance which Ayurvedic counselor can provide you. As I shared, if the problems are to that deeper level, then that practitioner must have that level of learning and understanding and experience. Otherwise, as a part of the daily routines also, Ayurvedic practitioner will provide you that how, while you are doing the same thing, when you wake up in the morning, brushing your teeth and scraping your tongue within 3 minutes of your waking up, how before you hit the pillow, you need to do your daily processing. And what is this daily processing, how you have to do that, and how you can go to the next level, what we call as facing the mirror. So that part is an integral part of clearing up our emotional darkness layers. And these layers keep building up if we don't do those steps on a regular basis. There is no way that I can start and stop and start and stop, because again, as I mentioned in the early part, our body has made of cells, and each cell has its own memory. We call it as cellular memory. And especially whether it is physical ailment or emotional ailment, each cell will carry that memory, and that need to be cleaned up. And you cannot clean it in at your will. It has in a process. And where you stop that process, that 24-hour break will make the whole chain to disintegrate, and you have to start again. Hence, this process has to be continued. And then if your Ayurvedic counselor has identified that your problems are a bit more deeper, they have another program what we call as emotional healing program, which again is a very strong Ayurvedic tool in which our ancient sages has given us that how you can wash those emotions, their memories, and how you deal with. The principle is that you must acknowledge that from where your emotions are coming. And another thing what Ayurvedic counselor will make you equipped with, that how to face the situation. Running away from situation is never going to solve the problem. Your problems will keep accumulating. Your problems will keep building more and more. Hence, you will get the guidance, get the support, get the direction from that practitioner, that how he can walk along until you become more and more stable to handle those problems. So that emotional healing program will be another major tool which Ayurvedic counselor will share with you. And then, as I said, if the problem has gone much more deeper and to impact on the five koshas and to the chakra level, Ayurvedic practitioner will be well equipped to create that chakra balancing program, which again is a very comprehensive learning and tool. Not every Ayurvedic practitioner know that this is a specific learning, and sometimes it is not taught even at a 5-year degree program what we do in India. So that specific Ayurvedic psychology and counseling approach is precise, but we do teach at our AIS program time to time. Those courses are offered to anyone who can come and guide. But then what I'm trying to say is that chakra cannot be balanced by ding dong. Like say sometimes people will have that kind of ting and tong does not really make your chakra balance. Don't get into that thing that someone is moving around your body and then at the bottom and then at the crown they are doing that Tibetan ball or something. Those are not the treatment. Understand them. Wake up now and not get caught with such treatment which can make an individual fool. We have the responsibility as a client too, that we need to know what it means. Does it really do any good to me? And if it is doing good, why am keep suffering from my problem? So I have to question myself also why I get into that. In the same way, there are so many other things what we always talk about which are out in the name of Ayurveda. And the reason of me saying again, as I always have shared, that when we talk about Ayurveda, Ayurvedic medicine, one of the oldest system of medicine, it has so much to offer to all of us. And if we are able to get that knowledge in a correct way, I doubt that any one of us will ever suffer from any major problem. And then another question comes up, if yes, there are serious ailment has come, in those also Ayurveda can guide you and support you, while you might still need some intervention from the mainstream medicine. But then that is where we say that these system has to work together. And so there's ding dong kind of aspects not going to work, and no one should even think of that this is such an easy way. So that was all from my side today about Ayurvedic counseling, and just sharing with you how this Ayurvedic counseling can help anyone who is suffering from some of these issues in their life. Don't let them be strong enough to bog you down. You have a hope. You need to find an Ayurvedic counselor and seek their help and guidance, and you should be able to see the outcome. Thanks everyone.